that makes your interview stand out. In this session, we will be discussing these topics and more. Our expert will also be sharing insights on how to face JD and interview tips for a lifetime to achieve success in the corporate world. Let me introduce you all to the speaker of the session. We have with us Dr. Madhu Menon, an organizational psychologist with 24 plus years of experience in the different fields of applied psychology like education, management consulting, leadership, development, change management, life skill training, counseling, coaching, and mentoring. He has a PhD in organizational psychology and an MPhil in behavioral modification techniques from the University of Calicut. Presently, he is serving as General Manager, Career Competency Development in the Corporate and Industry Relations Department of Amrita University, Coimbatore. His areas of interest are leadership, development, change management, life skills training, and executive coaching. It's such a privilege to have you here, sir. We welcome you, sir. It's over to you now.
Madhu sir, can you share your screen? Can you unmute yourself? I will ask all the students to kindly wait for 2 minutes. There is some technical issues.
Yes. I think it has happened now. I think. Hope you can hear me now.
Yeah, sir. You are audible.
Great. So, very good evening to all of you. I will start sharing the screen. Before that, what I'm going to do is I will talk to you about what is that MBA course is going to offer you before starting to tell you as to how to crack MBA admission interviews. So I will start with that so that you get an idea. So I'll share my screen. Give me a second. Can you see it now? Can you see the screen?
Yes, sir.
Great. Is it in full screen mode now?
Yeah, it is in full screen.
Thank you. Okay. So once again, a very good evening to you all. So we are going to talk about how to comfortably go through an MBA admission interview. So primarily, there are a few elements that is there in that. Primarily, the action things are the interviews and GDs, but there are more to it. We will be talking about that as well. Now, this would be the rough content that I will be covering. Why MBA? What is the importance of this MBA course? Because if we speak about that, then you will get an idea about the possible questions that will be asked to you. Because if you know what MBA is preparing you for, then in a design thinking approach, you can think backwards. That is, if MBA is preparing you for this, what could be the expectation from an MBA aspirant? That way we can think. So that's the first thing I'm going to do for you. Second thing is the key aspects assessed in an MBA admission interview or test. Then what is an interview and what is an MBA interview? How to answer behavioral questions. That would be one of the key things that will be happening, especially these days. There are more behavioral questions, which I'll explain to you. We'll also talk about group discussions, and also we'll have a short discussion about the key attributes that are required for an MBA aspirant. Now, why MBA? MBA is known as a terminal degree, which means generally people who choose to do an MBA are the ones who don't want to study anymore. They just want to get into a job. So MBA generally people take as the last degree that they take, because MBA is a degree which is more appropriate for getting into corporates, getting into a job or getting into an entrepreneurship, start a business or start something of your own. So MBA course generally teaches you a broad range of knowledge and skills that can be applied for various industries. So MBA is actually a holistic course which will prepare you for skills and knowledge and attitude which is required for generally for the business. So MBA, that is what you will find in an MBA course. Naturally, when you apply for an MBA course, you should be more oriented to that. That's why I said that. Then it also, these are the areas that you will get training in MBA courses generally: finance, marketing, management, operations, strategic management, economics, entrepreneurship, ethics. All these things are the areas where generally an MBA course will be dealing with. These are the areas you will be studying when you do an MBA course. And please understand, MBA courses are not courses which are more theory oriented course. So generally MBA courses will go on with hands-on experiences, internships, mini projects, case studies. So these will be the things that you will be doing in a good MBA course, MBA program. And most importantly, MBA courses focuses on leadership development and your networking skills. Again, why I'm speaking about your leadership skills and networking skills, because see, leadership is not a very complex thing. Leadership is about your ability to be authentic and original and be focused on the goals that you want to achieve, and your ability to influence and inspire people to do the same thing. So it's your ability to inspire and influence people to achieve a common goal. That is what leadership is. You can have so many different ways to do that. So that again, we will talk about whenever we talk about leadership, we will talk about that. And also, what is networking? Networking is your ability to interact and connect with people and build good relationships. That is all. To put it in a very simple fashion, you will find amongst yourself, there are people who, when they meet people, they stay connected with them and they have a good, transactional relationship. It could be unconditional relationships also. So that is where, when you trust people, when you have a connection with people, it is easy to do transactions. You see, it is easy to make a request, or it is easy to ask for a reference. It is easy to share something. All this can happen when you have the right networking attitude. Networking is actually a personality trait. Some people are so natural networkers. They just, when they meet people, they remember them, they keep in touch with them, and they keep adding value to each other. So that is what networking is about. So when you do an MBA course, probably this is the landscape of an MBA course. Now, as I said in the beginning, when you know what is the landscape of an MBA course, it's easy for you to expect what would be the kinds of questions, what would be the kinds of tests that you will be going through, the kinds of assessments that you will be going through. Okay, so that is what it is. Now, when you look at the assessment tests of an MBA entrance examination, they are basically, in a broader sense, they are basically assessing your knowledge, skills, and attitude. And along with that, as I just said, leadership and networking skills. So if in a larger sense, if you really look at it, an MBA assessment, MBA admission test will be testing your knowledge. What knowledge? MBA MBA entrance examination will be testing in the interview or even otherwise. They will be looking at, they may not expect you to have the domain knowledge of marketing or domain knowledge of operations or business analytics, because you are an undergraduate, you are not much exposed to that. But you need to have some general knowledge, that you should know about economy, you should know about current affairs, and you should have your own original analysis and thinking about what is happening. For example, you should have a view about this Ukraine war and what is its impact on the world economy, Indian economy, or whatever it is. So, or anything for that matter, anything that is happening around, any scam that is happening, any merger, acquisition, major merger that happens, you can expect questions on things that is happening in the economic front currently, in the political front currently, what is its impact on the economy, business, and always these interviewers, the panel, expect you to have an original analysis of a situation and your own thinking, your own logical, your own reasoning about what would be the impact on the business, economy, even on the country. So that is very, very important. So you should have some basic logical understanding about the current economic scenario, current political scenario, current geological, whatever is happening around you. It's a very important thing. Second thing is your skills. What are the skills that they are looking at? Primarily thinking skills, your ability to do an analysis, your analytical thinking ability. It is not rocket science. Your analytical thinking is just like you have been given a problem. How do you analyze it? What caused this? What is the cause for it? What would be the probable outcomes? What are the different elements that is contributing to this problem? So your ability to just break down that problem into meaningful, information is called analytical thinking. And also your ability to be creative. See, more than the given, can you think about something more? So there are some obvious solutions to certain problems. Most of the time what we find is students, when we ask them some questions, they say some very obvious answers, which does not satisfy the panel, because you need to be a little creative, out of the box, something new that you should be able to come up with. And what do you mean by attitude that you should demonstrate in these kind of interviews? Attitude is your, first of all, your energy level. You should be energetic. You should be optimistic. You should be positive. You should not show unrealistic optimism. Whenever you show optimism, people will ask you to, why do you feel you can do that? No, then you should have a real, rational, realistic, looking at your profile. They should feel your optimism is realistic. So your attitude, your positive approach, your initiative, your readiness to learn, your orientation to technology. It's very important that you are technology oriented. You should be updated with current things that are happening in the field of technology, because today everything runs on technology. You should be knowledge of technology is good enough. You need not become a technological skills are not that expected unless you take something like business analytics or something related to that as a specialization. But you should have that attitude of learning readiness, readiness to work hard, work smart. Of course, your discipline, self-discipline. How do you spend your time? One of the questions that will come to you in these interviews is, how do you spend your leisure time? That question is a very powerful question, because your answer to that question, whatever you try to make up, they'll really find out from your CV. They'll ask you for some details, which if time permits, we'll discuss. So they will try to find out your attitude to work and life in general, even to society. Are you ready to contribute to society? Do you have a service orientation? Because to be a leader, you need to give. You should first give, then only you can take. So naturally, and you don't have to take. When you give, naturally things will come to you. So of course, leadership and networking, I have already mentioned to you. So different selection procedures for MBA program, just for your benefit, you have GMAT score, CAT score, MAT score, and so on. So first they will, most of the institutions will have a cutoff score for this. Based on that, they will call you for the interview. They will also consider your undergraduate scores, GPAs of your undergraduate course, and probably some of them will even consider what kind of an undergraduate course you have done. Your work experience, especially when you are going for an executive, PGDM program, MBA program, they would like to see your work experience, how handy it would be to help you to excel in that course. So every question will be with reference to that particular MBA program. It depends on the institute and the kinds of MBA program or PGDM program that they are offering. They'll see your work experience. Will that fit into the kinds of program? Will he or she be able to, contribute more, learn more, contribute back to the classroom experience, to the peer group? Because today it's going to be a very interactive, peer learning kind of an experience, especially in mini projects, industry projects. We get a lot of industry projects. So when you do these projects, the contribution from the students are very, very important. Also, some institutions ask for a personal statement on purpose. Why do you want to do MBA? They will ask you to give a small writing, a statement of purpose. So they will know your goals, your vision about your career, what kind of a career you want to pursue, and does that match with your current level of skills and capabilities? Are you being realistic? Are you really being a visionary in terms of your own career? Can you envision ahead, projecting the kind of future and future things that you can do? So are you being realistic in terms of your goal and purpose? Does that align with what the institution and this program can offer to you. So that statement of purpose essay is also going to be asked in some places. Of course, there will be an interview, there will be group discussions, and sometimes they will also rely on recommendation letters from your professors, mostly from your professors, or if you were working, from your senior colleagues, they, or even from your own peer group, some recommendation letters. Now today in social media also, like LinkedIn, people sometimes recommend you, and they'll just sometimes check your LinkedIn profile and see what kind of recommendations that you have got from what kind of people, what is the level of credibility those recommendation has. So this would be the larger selection procedure that you would be finding. So are you with me? Now, the important factors for success in a MBA, selection process. First of all, your resume. Your resume is very, very important. You have to spend some time on your resume. If you really, you have to really have a career goal, if possible, write a decent career goal, where you would say what is that you are bringing onto the table. That is, what are the skills and knowledge that you have, and what is that you can do with that. For by doing this course, how can you use your current skills, knowledge, experience while doing this course, and how do you want to benefit from this course, and how do you want to benefit the society and the organization that you're going to work. So generally a kind of career objective should look like this. But when you apply for an MBA program, generally it may not be a career goal, but you can always have a kind of a career objective written. There is no harm, but it should be appropriately phrased and to the occasion. So one of the things I always notice when I see a resume is your sensibility. How sensibly have you represented yourself in this written format? It is very important. You should not make any grammatical errors and wrong usages. So that clearly speaks about your lack of depth in your thought processes, or probably your inability to kind of express yourself properly. So you have to be very, very careful when you write your resume. So people will go through your resume. Most of the questions will be verified from the facts. Most of the answers would be verified from the facts that are presented in the resume. They might ask clarifying questions based on what you have written on the resume. Lots of pivot will be there on your resume, especially if you are a person with some work experience. Even otherwise, some projects, some achievements, even your academic excellence, extracurricular activities, your hobbies. There can be questions on your hobbies that can throw a lot of light about the kind of person you are, the kinds of attitude you have. Your hobbies will, and you should be really genuine about when you mention some hobbies and the kinds of things that you have achieved in your resume. Also, your personal demeanor and self-presentation. How you appears to be. I would say when you walk into an interview room, you should be pleasant. Not that you should be exuberant. You should have a confident smile on your face, and you should be positive. And just be positive and energetic. If they offer a hand for shake hand, or take it, don't grab somebody's hand and shake forcefully in the excitement. So be very appropriate, be very balanced. Don't get excited and do things out of your excitement. Just be pleasant and relax, and believe that if they come to know me, they will like me. You believe that if you will know me, you will like me, kind of an attitude. So go there being ready to express yourself in the best format, best way. So be positive. Walk into the interview hall like you go home after a long time, like you're meeting your parents. So with that attitude, you should go in, but don't be so excited that you forget whatever you have decided to say. But have a very positive and believe that these people like me. Should go with that positive kind of an attitude. And communication skills. Now, when I say communication skills, it is not only your language proficiency that I'm talking about. Communication happens through eye contacts, your facial expressions, your body language. There are so many elements. You should look relaxed, positive, and confident in that order. Because if you are so tensed, they wouldn't mind somebody being nervous. Don't think that if you are nervous, you will not be able to do well in the interview. Because most of the interviewers know people become nervous because they are serious about it. So, and it might be a part of your personality. There's nothing seriously wrong about being nervous, but don't try to be intentionally nervous. So, but being nervous is part of all of our lives. So it is not an uncommon thing. So if you become nervous, even you can state that I'm a little nervous. if situation permits, and smile. So that sometimes completely melts the problem, and you start becoming okay. So sometimes people, I mean, the board itself, the people sitting on the other side themselves might ask you, "Are you nervous?" So you may say, "Ah, slightly, a little bit, but it'll be all right. Thank you." So you can be very open about that, because being nervous is not something that's not a crime. At the same time, if you can be confident, they will be more than happy to see somebody who is confident. And of course, your general knowledge. I told you, you have no escape from your general knowledge about the current affairs, especially about economics and the things related to finance, things related to the political and business things. You should regularly read those magazines and newspaper where you get inputs about the current economic and business related information. That is very, very important. And also you should have a clear analysis about it. It's not that you should just know what is happening and simple account of just narrate what has happened, but you should have a view about it. You should have an analysis about it. That is going to be taking you a long way in your success. Now, what is what is that I'm talking about, this general knowledge? You see, it is about the awareness. I just said that, and your ability to think critically and analytically about the business and economics issue. Even about Ukraine war, you may say the recession that people fear is not because of Ukraine war. It could be about something. If you have some information about that, you may just speak about it. It should not be grossly wrong and illogical. Or if you say just there is less likely that there will be a recession because of this reason, but people are fearing recession. What could be the different reasons for the fear recession? Why are the companies shedding people? Why are people sending off people with, and what kind of companies are sending people out? Are every industry being affected by this kind of this phenomenon? If you have some kind of an analysis, some kind of statistics and data about that, that is going to help you. That, and it should be real. You just don't listen to somebody and without understanding that, you should not just come and speak about it, because somebody will catch you in the wrong foot. So it's very important that you have a clear analysis about that. That can take you a long way. The board will be really impressed if you have some clear original thinking about the current economic and business issues. Now, some examples of GK questions that are being asked in these generally in these MBA admission interviews are these questions. I hope you can read that. Like, what are the current economic and political trends affecting the business in your country? Those kinds of questions can be asked. There are so many questions, possible questions that would be asked. I'm just picked up some of these general questions that came about GDP, and you should be very clearly knowing about what is GDP and what are the factors that influence GDP. All those kinds of a little bit about the foreign trade, all those things you should really know about tax. All these are very important in business. So these kinds of knowledge is very, very required, and it's not rocket science. It's very easy. If you, and about stock market, what is happening in the stock market, and all those things, because these are all some different aspects and indices of the business in any country. So you should have some basic understanding and knowledge about these aspects. Also, why they conduct an interview for an MBA selection? Again, this point I'm discussing just to help you to understand from the other angle, from a design thinking angle. When you know why they are conducting an interview, you know what they expect from you. Then that helps you to prepare for it, right? So if you just really look at it, first thing is to get a sense of the candidate's personality and attitude. Because see, from your CAT score or math score, they know that you are very smart in your analytical skills, reasoning skills. But they want to see what kind of a person you are. Are you a conversationist? Do you have enough interpersonal skills? Do you have emotional intelligence? Are you a person who can, kind of connect with people easily? And can you communicate effectively? Do you have very good, communication skills? Can you just hold a conversation? Can you be? Are you a good conversationist? Can you take criticism positively? So there are so many things they would like to know about you. Unless they see you, they cannot. And finally, most important thing is, will you fit into my college? Because every MBA college will have a culture, a style of functioning, kind of ecosystem. So they will imagine in their minds, if this student come and sit in my class or my thinking how well she or he will gel and benefit and contribute to the whole system. So these kinds of questions they will be trying to find an answer to by interacting with you, by asking you different questions. Also to understand the suitability of the candidate for the program. In that sense, I have analytics course, I have, operations course, I have this course, that course. So will this student, will this aspirant fit into my kind of offerings? Where would they fit, overall, kind of things. So some institutions will have some unique programs where they have to be very, very careful. Sometimes some programs will be more suitable for people with work ex, or some will be more suitable for people who are more enthusiastic in learning. There will be so many considerations. And your interest and attitude, they will ask you, what are your hobbies? What are the kind of extracurricular activities that you do? That again talks about your personality. Are you an outdoor person? Are you a creative person? Are you an interpersonal person? Are you a intrapersonal kind of a, intuitive kind of a person? What kind of hobbies? What kind of a mental life you have? What kind of a physical attributes you have in terms of your skills? Do you play cricket at a very higher level? Do you like hiking? Have you gone for some very, very, notable kind of a trekking activities? So some kind of a travel have you done? What all kind of experience, and what all kind of, new things that you are bringing, kind of positive, attributes that you are bringing in, or your level of motivation and commitments and achievements. That is very, very important. If you ask me, if I say a student who is a consistent 90%, I quite know that she or he is an achiever. You don't have to say that I'm an achievement oriented person if you're consistently 90%, because you have proven it already, and you have done some excellent project, you have some achievements, or not necessarily in your academics. If you have some achievements in some notable areas of like sports, or in some NCC, somewhere, if you have some very notable achievements in arts, somewhere you have very notable, because you have dedicated yourself for something and you have talent in that area. Does not mean that you are a great artist without any decent CAT score or anything, you will get admission. But that will go a long way in making you a valuable member of any institution, because you are bringing in some value to the whole system. And of course, your communication skills and problem solving ability and professionalism. Now, what do I mean by problem solving ability? Because they will throw different kinds of social situations or business situations. Suppose you have a customer who's coming with a product to be returned to you, and you are there, but the customer's request is beyond your return policy. How would you deal with that person? So what is your approach? Are you analyzing the problem first, or just straight away jumping into a solution? Are you just trying to find out? How do you analyze? You find out from the customer what has actually happened, reason out with them, find out their perspective, accept their perspective. How do you go about it? What is your approach to solving a problem? Do you have some systematic or logical way of tackling the problem, breaking the situation into a meaningful analytical analysis, and finding out what actually is happening, and find out what is actually really going wrong? Where is that I can help you, and convince the person, educate the person about the nature of the problem. Where is that I can support you, and give the right commitment to that person? How do you deal with that? So that is very, very important when you look at problem solving. And also credibility and authenticity. This is very important, because people make claims. No, I am a hard worker, I am a leader, I have done this. Now in the interview, they will ask you certain questions, for example, these behavioral questions, which I'll come to. So that is one of the best way to understand or find out your credibility. Are you saying things actually you have really done, or are you as credible as you present yourself to be in your self-presentation as well as in your CV? So they will verify certain things that you have stated with this behavioral question. So how authentically you can answer those questions will go a long way in deciding your success. That is what we are going to talk about next. Behavioral questions. Now, behavioral interviews it has been there always, but this is where they will ask you a situation or a question. They'll ask you to give them a situation where you have solved a problem, or they will ask you a situation where you have given a solution to somebody, or they will find and they will want you to narrate that situation in the way that you have dealt with. Some people very abstractly deal. Sometimes, they'll ask you a question as to, like this first question: can you tell me a time when you had to work on a difficult project task? Then some people straight away come and say, when I was doing a project, there was a problem, so I called everybody, talked to everybody, and had a discussion with my team members. They all agreed and I solved that problem. It does not make any sense. People talk at a very high level as if, they don't give any, what did you do to solve the problem? So when you are asked any of these questions, let us take the first question. Can you tell me about a time when you had to work on a difficult project or task? Now, project, don't get scared by the term project. Anything is a project. When you do a course in internet, that you enroll for a course, for a certification course, it's a project. You start something and you proceed through it with a timeline with different tasks and complete it. And you have a timeline, you have to achieve certain individual tasks to complete it, and you have some dependency on so many things. You have dependency on internet, you have dependency on your time, you may refer some books. So anything, we just got a start and end date, a timeline, and different tasks and different dependency, that becomes a project or a task. Now, how do you answer these kinds of behavioral questions? That's what I'm going to talk to you. That's going to be the highlight of this discussion. So when you answer a behavioral question, for that matter, a question that is asked about your summer project or any project that you have done, you should answer in a star method. That you should say, what was the situation? So for example, here, tell me a situation where you have to deal with a different project or a task. So first you have to say the situation, and that situation should be very clearly said. For example, I had a project where I had a very limited budget, or I had a tough timeline, let us say timeline. So, I was working on a project. I will tell you a real project. Probably I was working on a project where, it was a software, it was a game development project where there are programmers, there are designers, interface designers, so many people working. Now, just before the delivery, they found there is a major bug in the thing, and we have already taken the payment, and the client wanted to go live with that project next week. And when they presented to the customer, they realized there's a major problem, and it would take minimum 2 weeks to fix. Now, how do you deal with it? And we have no way next week. That is the maximum point. Otherwise, you are going to have a litigation, and it's a huge money involved, and its company is going to probably close down with this failure. So how do you deal with that? So the situation is very clear. Now you all know what was the situation. There is no lack of clarity about the situation. Now, what task you identified? What are the different things that you thought you should do to solve that problem? So I thought about what to do. Then I realized, with my number of programmers, with my number of designers and other people, I will not be able to do this in a week's time. Then I discussed with the team. Then they said, sir, we have few people who have left us in the last 6 months and 1 year. They are all doing different kinds of things. Can't we just request them to support us, because they know the kinds of thing what we do? So we called a few people, and 3-4 of them said, definitely you have to pay them a little bit of premium, but because money was not the concern at that time. We called them, and that is action. Now we know the task. We wanted to find additional resources who can do that. Now action is call them up, cajole them a little bit. Some of them would have left with a little, bad taste, but the right people had called them. We got 3-4 additional hands, and we plotted the timeline. We found out we can finish the project in time. We finished the project, and people were happy. So this is the star method. Rather than just saying, I had a problem, I motivated my team, and all of them worked day and night throughout, and they just completed the project. So it will not look very real. And of course, you cannot tell a lie. Without having gone through this, you cannot do this. So very important that, and any question, you should actually say about the situation, and what are the tasks and things that you thought I should do to solve the problem. Identify what is that I should do. That's a task. You should say that. Then what action you did, and what was the result. So that's very, very important when you answer behavioral questions. Okay. Now, I hope it's clear up to here, because because it's not interactive. I hope all of you are there. Uh, Next is about GD. Am I going too fast? I assume I'm not going too fast. Okay.
No, sir, it's okay. It's perfectly fine, and everybody's understanding. Yeah.
Oh, great, great, thank you. So because it looks like I am like a blind man in a dark room. So it's pitch dark. I only see my slides. Yeah, okay.
No, sir. Sir,
Uh,
after the session, we will ask the students for their reviews and for their questions.
yeah,
Yeah.
sure, sure. Thank you.
Okay, sir.
Okay. So the next, if this much we have communicated clearly, we'll quickly talk about GD. Why do this MBA admission, admission process conduct a GD? Most of them conduct a GD. IIMs, all those people conduct a GD. Why GD is so crucial for this MBA candidate selection? Because first of all, if you ask me, in most of the business organizations, decisions are taken through group discussions. Even if you look at your own home, suppose you have to buy a new car, you decide to buy a new car. What happens when you are having dinner or lunch? All of you will sit together and there will be a group discussion. So the brother will say something that, this brand is good. Then father will say that's too costly, we don't have the money. Then a mother will say, actually, we should buy a blue color car. Last time it was so dull. So you will have a group discussion, and different people will have different roles, and everybody's input will be taken. Grandmother will say something, everybody will say something, small kid also will say something. So why a group discussion at home, if it is a peaceful home, is so interesting, because all of you are free to say your own opinion, because you don't fear anybody's criticism. If at all somebody criticizes, you take it. So this is exactly what should happen in a business situation. And most importantly, when you participate in a group discussion, you should be solution oriented. You should not just mull over the problem and the different sides of the problem only. You should you should understand the topic, you should analyze the topic, you should generate so many options, select one or two solutions. Listen to everybody, give your opinion. Need not necessarily that your own opinion comes as a solution only. There can be multiple solutions. But no group discussion can conclude unless you have some kind of a solution or consensus over the topic that is being given to you. Okay, or at least sometimes there are abstract topics. You should take it into some kind of a meaningful meaning. It should be taken to a meaning. So it's very, very important, and this should be the attitude. Now, as you can see in the slide, they also look at your ability to handle pressure. Why do we say that? Because in a group discussion, you are not sitting with your family, you are mostly sitting with strangers. There'll be kind of kind of 7 to 12 people in a group, and you will be given some 20 30 minutes to discuss, and topic will be given just maybe a minute before or 2 minutes before. So you have to quickly collect your thoughts and talk. And you are talking to strangers, sometimes they will be very eager to speak and get selected, so they might interrupt. There might be people who are a little loud. All kind of things happen. So how do you keep your composure, keep your emotions under control, and be calm and balanced? Use your social skills. May I make a point in between? Actually, what so and so said is very right. In between, I have not completed. Give me a second more. Kind of. So if you can just very nicely, like you talk to your friends appropriately, or maybe why are we not hearing out that person who is quiet? Oh, because your intention is not only to showcase you, your intention is to solve the problem, to get people's solutions. Sometimes people will come with critical points. So maybe you can learn, maybe that point is very interesting, but may not be very relevant in the current scenario that we are discussing, or current situation that we are discussing. It is more like a situation where you are taking input from everybody in a balanced fashion without getting too tense, too aggressive, too submissive. But it's like, I hope the example I gave would be of help to you. So of course, you need to do a lot of practice to do a good group discussion. Even if you are an expert in all this knowledge, whatever I I've told you, and you should have very good knowledge about the topic that is being discussed. And mostly the topics will be, as I said, current affairs issues or a case study. It could be a case study, a situation which we'll have to analyze and find a solution for that. But as I was saying, unless you practice group discussion, it will be very difficult for you to do well smoothly, because practice makes you perfect. So group discussion is one thing. Maybe even an interview, if you are a very pleasant, confident person with reasonable knowledge and logic and reasoning ability, you can go and do well in an interview, because it's you and the questions. But in group discussion, there are other people. It's a full contact game. It is not a game you play on the either side of the standing on either side of the net, because other person can disrupt you in group discussion. So you have to have that emotional balance, not to get emotional, not to get anxious, not to get worried that I didn't speak so far. What would I do? So there are so many things that people speak about. It's good to start this thing. It's good to conclude. All that is fine, because it is good to start if you are really confident about the topic. But if you're not really confident about the topic, don't start and say something irrelevant that you lose your, that ability to make the opportunity to create impression. So it's a risk and an advantage, provided you're very strong at that thing. You know that what you're going to say is going to make a very good beginning. Of course, you should say. You should start the discussion. You should not suddenly start saying something and they probably will hear them out. So then the evaluators know you are just, just making some, showing that you have initiative, but you don't have anything to say. So that is not going to really help you. So it is very important in that group discussion thing. And group discussion always is about how much you practice and how much feedback you get. Now, what are the skills that you require for group discussion? In the personal skills, as I just said, your ability to be calm, be positive in the presence of others. Even people sometimes, speak over you. Don't get upset. Some people will become loud. Some people will cut you short. Don't feel upset. You be calm. You be balanced. The same thing is about emotional intelligence. You should not look very tense when you are doing the group discussion. You should learn to be relaxed, and you cannot pretend to be relaxed. To some extent, it works, because it's always said, if you want to be happy, pretend that you're happy. It comes. But in a group discussion, it's only for 20 minutes. How far we will be able to do that, I don't know. But still, you can try that. But you should practice. If you practice with people who can make a lot of noise, a group discussion, and you can speak through and do it, that will go a long way. Courtesy. It's very important to be courteous. You should say, please, excuse me, thank you for that point. But don't use too much of pleasantries. Then that will also become a problem. Don't overuse. Some people overuse it too much. Repeat pleasantries. That become a little not very natural. Okay. Leadership and initiative is all about you being confident to speak, and also your initiative to collect points and take it to a solution. Leadership in group discussion is all about you making sure the discussion is moving towards a solution. The discussion is not moving away from the topic. Sometimes, somebody does not understand the topic in the right spirit, and everybody goes in that direction thinking that what he or she said is right. At any point, your own wisdom says, hey, the topic was something different. You should have the courage to state that. And if you prove that, that would be very good. And being analytical, I told you, you should be able to break the problem into its individual components, what contribute to that, what are the components that contributed to this problem. Then it's easy to find solution and understand the problem. Being decisive, you have to give some solutions and decisions. And as I said, being solution focused rather than only mulling over. Suppose somebody talks about the economy of the country. You keep on saying the country is guts gone to dogs. Everything is so bleak, this thing, that thing. Don't be so negative. There will be a lot of positives in everything. But I don't say that you should, seek only for positive things. But, you should not just become problem focused. Most of the time, we are all trying to find solution. For every problem, there will be some solution somewhere. So keep looking for a solution rather than just sticking to the problem and keeping on talking about the problem only. So that is again very, very important. So these are the evaluation parameters. How are you evaluated generally in a GD? Is first of all the relevance of the points that you make. Are you making relevant points to the topic and to the solution of the topic? Analysis of the topic and to the solution of the topic. Are you making relevant contributions? Now, if you introduce a new point or rephrasing a problem, a thing so that everybody understand in a better fashion, can help you. Then the kinds of examples that you give, you should give examples which are very telling. If you can give examples which clearly states that abstract, it would be, because your evaluators will be a little more experienced, they clearly understand. And as I said, your body language, your eye contact, the way you sit, the positive attitude, you should not just sit back and just show that kind of an attitude. And of course, your communication skills. What I mean by communication skill, first, of course, your voice modulation. You should speak at the right voice. You should not become too low in your voice. That shows that you are a little anxious and timid. Also, you should not shout. Then that shows that you're too aggressive. So you should speak at the right voice modulation. That is very important. And talking about communication, what I'm talking about is you should actually comprehend the topic well, articulate it properly, and also express your body language appropriately. So the moment you comprehend what is the topic, what are others saying, listen to them, understand, articulate well, and express it well. So articulate in your mind or articulate while you are expressing, it's again very, very important. So if you can do these many things, your group discussion also will be very, very impactful. And most importantly, stay cool and stay calm, stay balanced. You don't have to be anxious. If you become too anxious, definitely your performance will dip. So think that you have nothing to lose. You are just using an opportunity. You are not losing anything. So there is nothing that you should become too anxious about. And today you all have a lot of opportunities. So you should not really worry about if will I make a mistake kind of a fear. You don't have to have that today because you are so lucky to have so many opportunities. So that is one of the advices I can give you, that you just remain calm, do your best preparation. If you have done enough practice, you have no reason to become nervous and anxious. If at all you don't do well, no problem, you have another opportunity, because you can only do what you can only think about what you can control. So you do your best, prepare your best, and go be relaxed and balanced, do your best and be happy. So this is my final slide, and some specific skills and qualities that are expected from an MBA aspirant. You can just look at them and think about them. Strong leadership skills, I have already said a lot of things. Excellent communication and interpersonal skill abilities, which I just said. Communication is all about your ability to connect to people. When I talk to you, that's why I was just saying, actually, I am not seeing you, so I don't feel well connected with you. I don't know what kinds of people are there out there. I don't see your faces. I don't see your responses. So when you connect with people, information automatically flows, right? So learn your ability to connect to people makes you automatically a very good communicator. Okay, a high level of motivation and drive. You should have high level of energy and optimism. So when a problem is there with you, you may not find a solution immediately. So you don't lose your heart. You should have that energy to hang on to the the kind of actions that you're taking. Think about alternatives. One thing is not working, think about something else. Never lose your heart. And if it is not for you, just leave it and move ahead. That's all. You don't have to just hit your head on something which cannot be worked out because your skill sets are different, your situation is different. Don't worry, move ahead. There are so many other things that you can do. Okay. And also they look at your track record of professional accomplishments. In freshers case, it will be mostly your academics, mostly the kinds of other non-academic extracurricular achievements, sports, whatever that you have had. And analytical and problem solving abilities, I have already spoken about it a lot. Capacity for teamwork and collaboration. This is again very important. What do you mean by being a team player? It is your ability to trust others and build trust in others. So if you can just build trust in others, and if you trust in, you don't if you don't have to kind of trust people blindly without a reason, but you should find reasons to, or probably you should have a team whom you can trust. Building the right team probably would be the solution. So working in a team and collaboration is always about trust. Or today we have cyber security, so many ways and means to make sure it is foolproof. So there should be an atmosphere of trust and safety in your relationships with your clients, customers, and team members. So we should, a best way is to care for each other and love each other. Love not in that sense, caring and being a well-wisher of your team and each other. Being a well-wisher of each other would be an amazing way to build an amazing team. That's what we're all trying to do out here. And a strategic mindset. What is a strategic mindset? Strategic mindset is when you have a problem at your hand, you should be not only able to think about the solving the problem, you should always also think about other aspects while you are solving, while you are making a request to somebody and they are giving you the service. You should understand what is that they are expecting from me. What is that in the long term I will have to give back to them. So strategic mindset is not only being here and now, your ability to think ahead of time. If this continues, what would be the other developments that can happen? So you should be able to think ahead in terms of time and situations. That is called strategic mindset. So see, even if you are given a problem, there will be some obvious causes for it. But if you think strategically, you might find some underlying, usually not seen kind of a reasons. There might be a technical problem, but there might be a human element to it. There might be a software failing, but you should think what is actually, who are the people, what is the kind of relationship these people have among themselves. So is there a human element to that problem? So most of the time we will go and get stuck there. Even cyber security, there are so many experts who come and ask me even the human side of cyber security. People go and click on all kinds of link. It's because of their nature. Some people are too impulsive. They create cyber vulnerabilities. So how do you plug it? So lots of human behavioral aspects. These are all strategic things which normally with our common direct thinking you may not be able to find out. Global perspective. Don't think only locally. Think globally. It's very important. You should not only see your problem, your organization, your state, your family, your country. You should see about the globe, of the whole world, because today things are global. Even about pollution, a product that you are making, an invention that you are making, you're not only making it for you, your family, your company, your country, your community. You're making for the nation, you're making for the world and whole humanity, if possible, even beyond. All right. And your strong academic record goes without saying. Strong integrity and ethical standard. This is actually one of the very important points. What do you mean by ethics and integrity? See, when you are in business, you see a lot of cases of frauds happening, and people anyway will get caught at some point. So that is not the reason. Ethics, when you talk about ethics, it's your sense of justice. We should give what we are due to give, and we should not take what we are not deserving to take. So that standard has to be there, and you should kind of future course of growth or whatever, of even giving punitive measures. You should have a strong sense of justice irrespective of your personal interests. So that is very, and ethics also is for your care for animals, your care for nature, your care for people whom you don't know. All this comes in ethics. And of course, following processes, following standards, quality, being honest, all this comes under ethics. So that is very, very important. Unless you are ethical, you cannot have a long-term success, and you cannot be a leader at all unless you have high ethical standards. And of course, your desire for self-improvement is another thing that they measure in your MBA interviews. Are you a person who is constantly trying to improve yourself? We can easily make out from the kind of activities that you have done. Are you doing courses in the same field where you want to grow? Are you doing diverse things so that you can develop in different angles? So provided there is a logic, whatever you do does not make any, there's no problem. So are you a lifelong learner? learner? Are you learn new things which actually has got a purpose and aligning yourself to the goal and so on? And your desire to make a positive impact on the society, which anyway goes without saying. All this what we have said is basically about that. So if you keep all these things in mind and go for your MBA admission processes, I'm very sure you will do well. So I hope I have made some sense to you. I have helped you a little bit. So maybe we can open our discussion for some questions if you have.
Um, yes, sir. Just a second. Yeah, it was a very informative session, sir. Thank you for sharing your valuable insights on interview tips and suggestions
Thank you.
and guiding the students to learn all aspects of interview that will help them to get an edge over the competitors in any interview faced. Now the students can put any queries in the chat box if they have. We'll wait for a couple of minutes, sir, for the students to
Oh,
put in their
sure, sure, sure,
questions.
sure, sure. Okay, detailed information about specialization at Amrita. We have, of course, marketing, sales and marketing. We have analytics, BI, business analytics. We have operations. We have finance. We have HR. I think these are the 5 specializations. Yes, all the conventional specializations are there. Okay, PGDM is actually more project oriented, and most of the PGDM are for people with some experience. But does not mean that MBAs are not for people with experience. It's more action oriented. PGDMs are more project oriented. They'll be doing like IIMs. No, they mostly are more project based. Kind of. Maybe career gaps. Career gaps will not hurt you for getting into the course. But some companies, when it comes to your when you go for the job, some companies are a little concerned. They would like to ask you, why do you have the career gap? If you have a genuine reason, that should not be a problem. The concern of the companies when you have a career gap is that, are you being kind of not consistent? Do you have some consistency? Are you a person who is reliable? Some people suddenly lose interest in this and do something. Are you a person without any clear goals? Kind of a concerns they'll have. And this is a very conventional way of looking at it, but people still do that. No, not
So
really. 1 year
Vinay,
gap. Yeah. Sorry.
what should be the resume freshers without work experience? How it should be?
Come again. I didn't get you.
Vinay is asking, what should a resume be for freshers without work experience?
It should be like, you can, as I said, if you can write a career objective, may not be required. First should be your academic records, and next should be any project that you have done in the UG properly. Give a brief about that. Next, you should give about any certifications that you have done, which is relevant to kind of specialization that you want to do. Certification comes next. Then you can talk about any IT skills or any other special skills that you have. Then you can talk about your any projects. Mostly you can write about the projects and all those stuff. When you write about project, you should say the name of the project, the objective of the goal of the project, and what are the activities that you have done in that project to achieve that goal. 1 2 3, I went and met so many people, gave a survey, collected data, analyzed it, got this, and what was the result. So project should be given in a very precise, like that behavioral questions, very precisely you should give. Then your certifications are very important. When you give your certifications, you should give from what university, which was the year in which you got it, all that. If possible, if it's a bigger certification, how long it was, you should give all those details. Then you can write about your hobbies, extracurricular achievements, languages, non. These are the things that you can write for a fresher. Primarily your academic records, that really matters, and the project that you have done. Not really coding
Sir, are there
knowledge. I am not an expert in business analytics. Basically, there are tools like
no, sir, you
R
can
and
go ahead.
yeah, Adira. Yes, can we include? Oh yeah, you can definitely. What is wrong with part-time jobs? I mean, any job that you have done. Only thing is, when you're working in a company, you should not be doing part-time job. You can. Any work is appreciated. Part-time jobs sometimes are more appreciated because you are so motivated to work, right? Uh, international immersion. What is international immersion means? I mean, connection with foreign universities. You mean? Probably is that what is international immersion? I mean, if you ask me, we have a Bangalore campus where we have a dual degree. Other campuses, we have a degree from Amrita University, Amrita Vishwa Vidyapeetham itself. Yeah. You can take dual specialization, major, minor, dual specialization. These days, I think most of the students take dual specializations. There are companies coming in analytics. One of the things is you should be really good at analytics. Mm, yes.
Um,
Yeah.
so since we are running out of time right now,
Yeah.
can we conclude the session now?
Which specialization is highly paying? It depends on the company and our quality. Every specialization has got its own value. That you will understand after going through 1 or 2 trimesters. Mostly, you'll be deciding your specialization in the third trimester. By the time you'll have an idea. Not really. Science, undergraduation in science is not a problem, provided you have the other qualities like you have motivated. And how many placement interviews can one take? I mean, until you get placed, nobody stops you from. We have some placement policies. If you get one job, if you get a job, another opportunity which is double that, probably you can apply for that also. But there are some conditions which is at the interest of every student. But you can attend the placement process until you get a job. There is no limit. But you cannot skip job interviews which you are eligible for, and keep waiting for some dream companies to come. There are some placement policy is a very detailed document like our Indian constitution, which you will be getting. So it's well taken care of. All interest of the students are well taken care of. PPO depends on. I mean, when you get an internship, if they find you to be very good, they give you PPO. We get a lot. I mean, even now we are getting lots of PPOs. Thank you. Thank you.
So
Yeah.
since we are running out of time, can we conclude the
Yeah.
session now?
Thank you. Thank you all. Have a good evening.
Well, now we'll conclude the session by thanking Dr. Madhu sir for his valuable input and hope that the students have learned a lot about the interview pattern and tips for future endeavors. We wish you all very best and success in life. If you have any queries regarding MBA admission, you can reach out to us at mba@amrita.edu, or you can contact us at 0444813334. It has been posted in the chat box. Thank you, Madhu sir. Thank you once again.
Thank you very
Thank you so
much.
much.
Thank you. Good evening. Bye.